Hi, I'm Katie Berglof, and I just want to say thank you to Brass Out Loud for inviting me to speak on their platform today. Their question was, what does my ideal brass community look like? Being an advocate for musicians who have injuries and disorders and disabilities, I'm very passionate about musician health. So my ideal community involves more inclusivity for musicians who are injured, who have disorders or disabilities. When I conceptualize the future, what I would love to see is more policies, practices, and procedures or protocols within the professional realm that uphold the safety and the inclusivity for musicians who are currently experiencing a setback while they're trying to do their job or their work. Because you see with really good corporations, whether they're nonprofit or for-profit corporations, they take really good care of their employees, and most of them who are really good, they have it written into their policy and agreements, and they're very clear about how they will support you and take care of you when you are in certain circumstances. And then at the student level, when it comes to health and well-being, I really would love to see more of like a fostering for taking care of oneself and their own community, providing educational resources or even involving musician health and well-being in their coursework. When I went to CU Boulder, we had a health and wellness program there, and the Open professor put this all together, and he brought in the psychologist, and the psychologist hosted this meeting every Friday where we all met and we just talked. Musicians in the School of Music, anybody could come and you could just sit in the circle and you just talk about what you're experiencing, just anything surrounding what was going on in the current moment, whether it be stress from exams or stress from playing requirements. So creating like environments where people feel safe to go and reach out and communicate. And I think it's this fostering of inclusivity and also just promoting also this general enjoyment of taking care of oneself, which will further develop more passion towards musician health and well-being. And it can even be little things. It could be centered around anything that they like, but I think addressing musicians' education is important to not only be able to provide the resources to your students, but also foster this kind of general initiative within your students, their own self-initiative to be involved in their own health and well-being. And I think this will create kind of this catalyst for hopefully bringing musicians on board and more together when it comes to talking about health issues. And also I think at an educational level, developing the critical thinking skills and being able to get students to talk and write about these issues, because it is something that is practiced among other professions, but within our profession, with our education, our training, we're not often talking about, the psychological setbacks we go through, the mental setbacks we go through, the physical setbacks we go through. We don't often open up about it. We often don't talk about it. So I think getting students to be able to critically think about these things, whether through assignments or through just being a part of a group or something, I think that will help a lot too. I think there's different ways that we can bring in more education surrounding musicians' health and well-being. And it doesn't have to necessarily be just like a pamphlet or like a printout of something, but actively getting involved in their health, whether it's promoting something they love or just self-development materials, but also most importantly bringing them into environment or giving them a circle or a certain place where there is that inclusivity. Also in the future, I think too, as far as education for professors and educators, providing some type of career development credits or coursework they can take, learning how to guide and support students just at a basic level or general level if they don't have a medical background, learning how to guide students who are in trouble, whether it be physical setback or mental setback, to the help they need to get, and understanding how to support them when they're going through something that's quite drastic. Just being a little bit more mindfully aware of how to address certain circumstances or situations that students get involved in, whether it be music related or not. Also, I hope in the future that we can see the importance of taking care of the whole musician, so a more of a holistic approach, and not just focus on one little tiny aspect of what they're going through. A lot of us like to narrow things down to just one little thing, whether it be like, you know, just bad habits, or, you know, just overthinking things, or it's just perfectionism, or it's just anxiety. It's always just one of those two, or it's just some, you know, and seeing it more like, okay, this is a complex individual, this is a person who has an entire world inside their head, and it's much more complex than just one little thing. Hopefully in the future we will be much more open-minded about that, and I think most people are in general, because I think a lot of us realize that just taking a pill isn't going to help resolve everything all the time. So from my own viewpoint, seeing how subjective everybody's experiences have been, for those who have come to me and told me their stories or reached out to me or have wanted help, I think that's made me really understand the importance of serving the whole musician. Also, kind of going back to this critical thinking subject, I really would love to see in the future for everyone to think more deeply in our community about how we're affected in different roles. Not just at the student level or the professional level as somebody who's a professional performer, but also in other areas as well, like how are music professors affected by stress? What are the stresses they deal with, like with tenure and all these other things? Like how can we help their health and well-being? And also teachers in general too, because you look at the burnout rates of music teachers, and there's a lot of issues that we can address, I think, by bringing them up into the light and talking about them. And I think that the more we're open about the stresses that we deal with and the mental and physical setbacks that we deal with at every level, whether it be we're a teacher, we're a professor, we're a student, we're a professional performer, or we're somebody that's like a freelancer, or we're working 2 jobs or 3 jobs, or wherever we're at in life, I think just being open about it and communicating is a really great place to start. Finding places to create inclusivity is the beginning, and opening the doors for communication. And I've at least tried to do that through my work and through my outreach and my advocacy, but I feel like there's always opportunities to create more of that. And I think the more we're able to bring each other together and collaborate, the more we can bring all this out into the limelight and get it addressed. So my ideal brass community is one that focuses on the longevity of the future for classical musicians and future generations. Taking care of each other is one that's just more inclusively involving musicians with injuries, disorders, any type of setbacks. Anyways, I hope that made sense. Thank you so much for inviting me on here. I really enjoyed it a lot. Thank you guys. Bye.